Howdy folks, this is going to be the last video, and this is going to be 3 videos in this series. I've never done a series before, but I've been thinking about this over the past month as school was ending up on what I could do. This one is about vamping, and when you start doing basic vamping, it's, a lot of times that's one of the first things you do to play backup is you do a vamp, where you're going which is boom, chuck, boom, chuck, boom, chuck. And it sounds real boring if that's all you do, even if it's at a faster pace. It works, but if you listen to the professional players, they all do vamping. And you may listen to whoever your favorite professional bluegrass banjo player is, and you're thinking, they're vamping, but it's a whole lot more intricate than what I'm doing. It sounds a whole lot better. So I want to try to show you a couple things you can do to make your vamping sound better, and that's by adding that syncopation. And that's what all 3 videos are dealing with in this series, is adding syncopation to your playing, which I think really makes it a lot more dynamic and you a more versatile player. When you think of vamping, I don't want you to think of playing the banjo. I want you to think of playing the drums. Okay, it's a lot more percussive than it is melodic. So yes, you are fretting, halfway fretting and muting certain notes, which actually gives you more options and more sounds than it does a drum. I want you to think about beats that a drummer might be playing. So the first one is the boom, chuck, boom, chuck, boom, chuck, boom, chuck, boom, chuck, which would be a pretty boring drum pattern. If that's all a drummer knows, then they're not going to be a very good drummer. So they have to know more patterns. We're going to do the same kind of thing with vamping. First thing we can do is we can just pretend we're the snare drum, all right, which is typically in the bluegrass field, that is the mandolin. The mandolin is also known as the snare drum of bluegrass. I know that because I played mandolin as well. I played that a few years before I started playing banjo. So if you're playing just the chuck, the boom, chuck, 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 that will work. So if you're having trouble vamping and changing positions and all that kind of stuff, or it's a really, really fast song, you can just go with the chuck, which is normally what the bluegrass mandolin would be chopping. So if we do Rolling in My Sweet Baby's Arms, we can go, rolling in my sweet baby's arms, rolling in my sweet baby's arms, lay around the shack till the mail train gets back, and roll in my sweet baby's arms. So that works. So that'll get you started. You could also change the positions there if you're have enough dexterity. Roll in my sweet baby's arms, roll in my sweet baby's arms. So I'm still playing just on the chuck on the 2nd and 4th beat. But I'm just changing positions, so it adds a little more to it. And then where the syncopation comes in is, instead of doing just the chucking or just the boom, chuck, is to go boom, chuck, chuck, boom, chuck, chuck. So you're playing on beats 1, 2, and 4. You're playing the first boom, and then a chuck, and then a rest, and then the second chuck. And so I'm going to just stay here at the F position. Rolling, I'm going to speed it up a little bit to sing this one. Rolling my sweet baby's arms, rolling my sweet baby's arms, lay around the shack till the mail train gets back, and rolling my sweet baby's arms. So that's starting to get into the syncopation. That sounds even better if you can change position. And you hear me there, I'm so used to playing this automatically that I'm adding in a little bit of extra stuff, and that's what I wanted to show you last, is some extra things you can do. But the whole idea is think about different things with the snare drum. That's the kind of thing you're doing. You're adding, instead of just playing the snare drum, you're adding in the boom, which would be the kick pedal, and you're starting to add in some of the cymbals and all that, and you're getting more intricate percussive patterns, if you will, much like a drummer would. All right, so one more thing that you can do, you've probably seen that where you can add in slides, or you could slide back down as you're going back down. And I do that some, but typically I don't even do that. That's just not part of my repertoire. Maybe something I need to work on more. But and you start to hear how it sounds a lot more professional, and starts to be a lot more versatile when you start putting other backup ideas. A lot of times you won't hear a professional banjo player vamp an entire break or an entire chorus or entire verse, unless maybe it doesn't have a whole lot of players in the band, and maybe the mandolin's taking a solo, and you need to make sure you've got that backbeat, emphasize that chucking stuff. So one more thing here, and this is what I typically play, and I've actually had some people contact me through the Hangout and ask me, what are you doing on that vamping? Well, to be honest with you, I didn't even know at the time. I just had to go back and think about what I was doing and why I was doing it. And the teacher in me, I'm a math teacher by trade, got me thinking about how I might explain that to somebody. So this video is also in response to one of those questions. So I got to make sure to email that Hangout member so they can take a look at this. But let me see if I can think about it. Let me just play it and sing one, and then we'll figure it out. Rolling my sweet baby's arms, rolling my sweet baby's arms. And I'm rolling my sweet baby's arms. So what I'm doing, so once again, I'm still boom chuck, boom chuck, chuck, boom chuck, chuck, boom chuck. But I'm getting a little bit of a pickup note there. Boom chuck. When I switch position, I'm going first and second string together a pinch, and then third string with my thumb, whoops, and that'll actually work. That pattern will work even if you don't switch positions. Rolling my sweet baby's arms, rolling my sweet baby's arms. So it works there as well. It's giving you more of that boom, boom, getting some syncopation in there. I guess that kind of, for me, substitutes me doing a whole lot of sliding. If you're down here in the F position on your G chord, you can actually end it like the last part of the Six White Horses lick to give you another little flavor there on your backup. So that works as well. It gives a little more bluesy type sound. So I was trying to think if there was anything else. I can't think of anything else right now, but hopefully that will give you some ideas on adding some syncopation and doing vamping. Vamping is an integral part of a professional banjo player. They're going to do it in, almost every song. It kind of depends on the style of the song and what other instruments are in the band. But at some point, they're going to do a little bit of vamping. lot of times you'll hear it like at the beginning of a verse or in the middle of a verse when it goes back to the G chord. You'll hear some vamping in there, and then the leading into the C, and then a lot of times when you get to the C, they'll do another rolling lick or in the mood or a 6 white horses or one of those other traditional Scruggs backup licks. But hopefully that gives you some ideas on that. And vamping is not a basic thing. It is something that is very important, but there's more involved things you can do to make it sound a lot better. So hopefully that helps. I hope you've enjoyed the series. Let me know. Thanks.